Hi, I'm Braxton Fulkerson, General Manager at Fulkerson Services. Today we're going to talk about two important things to get ready for in the month of August. Back to school time and fantasy football. Hey, we'll give you some tips on what you can do to prepare for going back to school, and we'll cover some of the basics of fantasy football for both newcomers and professional players of the game. What could be more important than getting your children and yourself ready for the new school year? Some may argue that their fantasy football league may be of more importance, but I believe preparing for a new year of school takes the cake. Hey, with the help of our operations manager, Tyler Burnett, we will discuss a few tips on how to have a safe and successful school year. And we may throw out a few useful tidbits on creating a fun and competitive fantasy football team. Watch the video, enjoy our discussion, and stay tuned to the end where we show you how to download your own list of back to school and fantasy football tips. Hey, if you want to keep up with future posts and videos, follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hey, it's time to get ready to go back to school. August is here, school time is starting, fall and fun is right around the corner. We wanted to cover a few basic tips on getting ready for going back to school, and then some tips on how to have a successful school year for you and your family. Tyler is here. He's going to be talking with us, giving some insight on the school, and then we're going to rely on his expert ability to give us some tips and ideas on how to run a wonderful and fun fantasy football league. First things first, getting back to school, some of the key things that we should start working on is shifting our starting bedtimes. In the summer, we generally, or at least I know that we do, we let the kids stay up later, they sleep in later, and a little less organized with a lot of stuff going around, disorganized throughout the home. So a good thing to do is to start getting those kids to go to bed earlier and start organizing their house, their area, so they can be prepared for the school year.
I know we're ready to get back in that routine at our house for sure.
That's good. So. Another thing is to get stocked up for school. A lot of people suggest is make a fun day of getting all the school supplies and getting things ready, clothes, pencils, you name it, getting things ready for the first day of school and the full school year. Get organized, start making sure you've got your lunchbox area for the kids who take their lunches, making sure it's full of food and ready for snacks. Also put together your family calendar, get that out so you've got an idea of what the plans are for the upcoming several months. It's a good thing. Some people even go through their closets. That's kind of dreaded in our household. Start getting rid of the old clothes, donate those items, get all their new stuff lined out. Another thing to consider is to creating a homework station, an area where kids can go to. They know it's going to be quiet as possible. That's where they go in, they lock in, get their homework done. If you have something set up on a regular basis, it seems to just work better for the kids. They know that they can go there and take care of business and get all their studies done. Important before you start going to school is to start talking about it with your kids. Help them prepare, get thinking about what's coming up. Things don't happen like did with one of my children this weekend and say, hey, are you guys ready for school? And they're like, school's starting back? Whoa. They just kind of were on freelance mode and just enjoying the summer and forgetting that life does come back to reality. With that, any ideas, any thoughts you want to share on before we dive into it a little more?
I just think the more you can be involved, the better it is for your kids, especially if you have a kid like I do. My youngest is getting ready to start at a new school this year. They just get a lot more comfortable if you have the opportunity to take them, maybe, walk through their school with them, meet their teachers, and just kind of help them prepare. It gets them in that mindset and gets them prepared for maybe a new challenge that they're going to take on. Some
of the first things to do to get ready for the first day of school is to go over the schedule with your kids. Mm-hmm. For those going to middle school or high school, they've got different classes they've got to be at. It's important to kind of give them a good feel. Go to any of the orientation classes that are available. Maybe take a tour of the school, show the kids where their locker is, where their different classrooms are. I know some schools may be easier to navigate. The local high schools here, there's just so many different wings and places. And just letting the kids get to know and get familiar with this new school setup. So like Tyler said, it's important to touch base with the teachers as much as possible, especially at least once or twice in the first few weeks. That way the teachers know that you care, you're actively involved in their life, in the kids' lives in there, and that you want things to go smoothly. So, and it also helps you to see what areas or issues the kids might have come across or be working through as they start this new school year. A few more tips, something to consider is backpack safety. Make sure you get the right size backpack that is padded, has a big wide open mouth. You can get enough books in there. You don't want to overload it, so it's important to pack light. With the newer kids who are getting more books and homework, might be a good idea to go through it with your kid, help them organize it, and then go through it and just kind of remove unneeded things on a weekly basis. That can help the kids going. It'll also help you to just be more informed with what they're studying, what they're working on. Always use both shoulder straps with the backpack. Don't just use the one strap slung over the shoulder, because that can lead to strained muscles. Some of the things also to consider about the new school year is traveling to and from school. We've got school buses. A lot of people still take the school bus, which is great, a wonderful system. You need to make sure that your kid knows where they need to be dropped off and picked up. Make sure that they have basic pedestrian skills, knowing where to cross a street, where not to cross a street, to go in front of the bus or not to go in front of the bus, to make sure they're not messing around, moving a lot in the bus. Use shoulder straps to keep safe in the bus. Just simple things, again, looking both ways and knowing the safety rules for traffic when you're going around the bus. Also taking a car, number one thing when you're in the car, anybody, parents included, is to wear a seatbelt. Use that harness or any harnesses for a child, age appropriate harnesses, as much as possible. Always use those. Make sure the kids are in booster seats or whatever seat they need for their age and their weight. All children younger than 13 years of age should ride in the rear seat of vehicles. Some kids still may ride bikes. Hey, make sure your kids know the route to school. Let them know that they should always wear a helmet. That's a big safety concern. They can use appropriate hand signals. You can teach them that. Teach them the rules of the road and the traffic laws, so that they can know how to navigate through the roads with vehicles oncoming and crossing intersections. Another thing is to talk about is walking to school. When your child's walking to school, again, go over the route that they're taking to school and from school. Just teach them about awareness with their surroundings when they're walking forth to and from school. Any thoughts on any traveling to and from school section we've talked about?
Just as drivers, we need to take extra precaution at this time. Make sure we're paying attention to those school zones and speed limits.
So another thing to consider and to work through is eating during the school day. Tyler, we probably know this, the most important meal of the day is
breakfast.
Definitely. Breakfast is it. Make sure they eat a good nutritional breakfast. Set aside time where they know, hey, I've got to get breakfast in every morning. So consider that. Make sure you've got your lunch. If they're taking their lunch, that they're packed well, that they're set aside so that they know they've got good food options. Great cafeteria plans out there. If the meals are provided, take advantage of that. I know there's a lot of free meal programs in the schools, which is awesome. Sodas. I know we all, or not all, some of us are really good at not letting our kids drink them, and some of us, like myself, are a lot more lenient in letting our kids have sodas. But consider this, that a 12-ounce soft drink contains approximately 10 teaspoons of sugar and 150 calories. Drinking just one can a day can increase a child's risk of obesity by 60%. So, hey, consider that. A soda here and there is not a bad thing, but man, I would come up with a lot of healthier alternatives to just drinking soda. Bullying, and it's a big one in this day and age. Go over with your kids, talk to them about how to confront bullying, how to talk to the bully, to make eye contact, to also to get support with friends, and always stay around friends who can be there and work through those situations with you. And they also need to know that they can come to you or a teacher in the cases of bullying. If your child is the bully, you need to have parameters. Let the kids know what's expected. training them and interacting with your kids on how to treat others is very, very important.
Yeah, as with all things in having to do with parenting, communication is key. So make sure you're talking to your kids.
Definitely. And being involved, like you said, is where it's at, man. If we can just take a few minutes a day and be involved in our kids' life, communicating with them what's going on, whether it's challenges in tests at school, a certain subject, bullying, friendships, relationships, teachers, that goes a long, long way. Some other things we can talk about is before and after school child care. Make sure you've got things set up with the after school programs that are available. Let your kids know what they're going to be doing when they're coming home. As much as possible that kids don't come home to an empty house. And if they do, hey, have parameters and guidelines and rules set into place what to do to keep them safe if they're at home alone. We talked about it a little bit also, is develop a sleep routine. Make sure they're getting the right amount of sleep. Optimal amount of sleep for most younger children is 10 to 12 hours per night. And for adolescents, ages 13 to 18, it's in the range of 8 to 10 hours per night. So, man, that's important. I forget about that. I'm thankful when I get a good 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. But those younger bodies, those minds are working harder. They need that sleep to really be able to engage in their learning and in life better. Some things that can help is establishing rules for TV and electronic distractions and usage. Part of it, again, comes back to parenting and how much we supervise computer and internet use. That just, being aware of that and knowing if that's affecting their ability to study and do homework is very important. Always be available for the kids if they have questions. Be willing to work with them, show them how to do things. Move away from the tendency of doing that homework for them. They just don't learn much if you're doing it for them. So if there's any struggling going on with subjects, know that they need to communicate to you, or tell them they can communicate to you. And once you as an adult or a parent see that, start working with them, talking to the teacher, looking for resources that can help them in whatever subjects they're struggling in. And then there are always options for tutoring. And I believe a lot of schools have a network of tutors. If you go to the teachers or the administration, that can help you address those areas where the kids are just not getting that learning down or understanding the subject. So that's just it that we had. Again, what Tyler mentioned earlier is drive safely around school zones. That extra time that you take and just being more careful and cautious can save the life of a kid. And with that being said, let's turn it over to Tyler and we can talk about our fantasy football leagues and this help you out if you're new to the game, and then also maybe throw some tips at you if you're an expert at fantasy football.
Well, this is really one of the most exciting times of the year for sports fans, and I know that both Braxton and I really are big sports fans, enjoy watching all different types of sports, but with NFL football coming back, this is a great opportunity to maybe get involved with a fantasy football league if you haven't previously done so. I have 3 daughters and my wife, and they're not particularly big sports fans, but they've really enjoyed over the last several years engaging in a fantasy football league with me. It's just a cool way to connect both within families and then also with groups of friends. The nice thing about it, you can connect with people who aren't even nearby. Most of these leagues are based online, and so it's easy to create and sign up your friends from all across the country or even the world. If you're a first-time fantasy football participant this year, a couple key tips for you. The first thing that you want to find out if you're either establishing a league or joining a league is what type of league is it. There are several different types. The most common are going to be your standard scoring leagues, your PPR or points per reception league. Then you're going to have your keeper league and also your legacy league. Standard league is the most basic and simple. That's the one I'd recommend getting involved with if you're a first timer. You get to draft your entire team at the beginning of the year, and then there's no commitment for the following year. You can get a whole new roster the next year if you'd like to. A points per reception league, just really it's the scoring that's different. With the keeper league, you'll have the opportunity to keep one of the players from your roster for the following year. And legacy leagues are about multiple year maybe with a close group of friends that you know you're going to be in contact with for the next 8-10 years. That's building a team that's over the long haul. You're going to have the opportunity to keep your entire roster from year to year.
Wow, I didn't even know those were available. That's pretty intense.
Yeah, some of them can be a really big commitment. So I recommend the standard league if it's your first time, but don't hesitate to jump in right into any of these options that might be available to you.
Last year, our 14-year-old got our family involved with the help of Tyler, and we had a great time. We all watched the stats and the reports to see who won and whatnot every weekend, and it was just fun. It was great. We competed against each other. Our 11-year-old actually, I think, ended up winning the whole deal. It was fun, great stuff. So anybody can do it. Like Tyler said, it's online. They have so many tools that you can set up that you don't have to manually monitor or manage.
The first thing you're going to want to do when you join your league or create your league is determine what the scoring structure is. You want to find out how points are awarded and kind of what the most valuable plays and positions are going to be to your league. Those can be structured differently. They're all set by the commissioner for each individual league. But you want to pay attention to that because that's going to affect how you draft your players. A general rule of thumb is most experts recommend drafting a running back first, followed by wide receiver or quarterback. Then you get into the tight ends, and last you're going to look at kickers and defense. But look at that scoring structure and also the roster structure. How many players in each position you get to start on a weekly basis. If you're looking for some resources, there are a lot of great things available out there. Some of my favorites, love reading the fabulous Mr. Roto. That's Matthew Berry. He does a great job, weekly columns. Also, Roto Wire is basically a strictly stats-based presentation. So if you just want to look at different individual players and how they're ranked, there's some great resources there at Roto Wire. ESPN and SB Nation, those are going to give you kind of a holistic approach to it, where you get to see the stats and you get to get recommendations from their staff experts as well. Encourage you to check those out as you start to build your mock draft.
So, going back to picking a running back first, are they generally more key in generating the most points for you in that PPR points per reception league? So
what you're going to see with the running back is they're going to be your most consistent player generally as far as their point generation. They're going to have the most consistent touches with the ball. And some people will argue that a quarterback is more important, but running backs, there's a lot bigger drop off from, say, the top 10 or 12 running backs in the league down to the next level of 10 or 12 running backs that might be available. Gotcha. You can get a pretty decent quarterback even as deep as 15 or 20 picks in.
Gotcha.
So that's why they have that recommendation.
And that all depends on, I guess, how many players are in your league. Is there a max usually, or a minimum that they come up with for each league?
Real typically, you're going to see at least a minimum of 6 to 8 people in a league. I wouldn't go any higher than about 12 people in a league because you simply start to run out of quality starting players. You'll start having to really piece things together with maybe second string players and things like that, and that can make it difficult to.
We experienced that last year. How many did we have? Was it 16?
I believe it was 16.
That really, I think, pushed the limits. We were struggling for players. So yeah, I think keeping it to 12 and under really would help.
Yeah, you really have to dive deep on the waiver wire if you have that many teams in your league. One of the things that you'll want to do is you're going to want to print out maybe some mock drafts or some suggested player rankings prior to your draft beginning. That way you can analyze and once you know your draft position, you can sort of project what players might be available at that position and who you'd like to take first. Really, this is where the analytical guys like Braxton can make a killing in the league because they can analyze that data and really structure a great roster.
Well, I think we can. Last year I didn't do too well. Came in the middle of the road, but yeah, definitely analytics and knowing which players to pick helps a whole lot. So with that being said, do you have Any suggestions? I know you're not Matthew Berry, but
I
you're
am
Tyler
not.
Burnett, and
I'm
you've
not.
got a lot of information and ideas, man. Throw some at us. Some top picks in each area.
Sure.
And what are those main areas too? Let's hit those.
So I'll hit the main positions. We'll go quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. A lot of times I'm just picking up defenses off the waiver wire and things like that because I focus on those, what they call the skill position players. Right now, as far as my top picks are concerned, I'm going to throw 2 Steelers out there right away. You got to go Le'Veon Bell at running back. He is just a consistent workhorse, and that offense is really built to provide him with not only a lot of touches out of the backfield, but he rolls out and catches some passes too. And then Antonio Brown at wide receiver, he's going to be a great. His consistency at the wide receiver position is pretty incredible. Now, he has dealt with some injuries here early in preseason. You're going to want to keep your eye open and watch out for that. For quarterback, again, consistency is key for me. I got to go Aaron Rodgers. Coming off that late season injury last year, but not many quarterbacks that put up better or more consistent stats than he does. And then last, at tight end, I'm going to say Zach Ertz, playing with that great Philadelphia Eagles offense. I think that he's going to have another excellent year. There's some rookies that you might see make some noise this year as well. Quarterback, you got Sam Darnold with the Jets. It's possible that he may be starting as early as week 1. Hear good things coming out, but do expect him to be a little bit turnover prone. At running back, Saquon Barkley, I think he is going to be one of the top picks and an automatic starter from day 1. Tight end, I like Hayden Hurst out of Baltimore. Great hands, and I think Flacco's going to find him a lot in that offense. And then at wide receiver for a rookie, I like Cortland Sutton for the Broncos. He is caught some great touchdown passes in preseason during training camp, and coming in at the wide receiver 3, there's not a lot of expectations set for him, so I expect him to do well. Every year we have sleepers, Braxton.
Yeah.
So a sleeper is somebody that's maybe not projected to do as well as they end up doing in scoring.
Right.
If I'm going to make now sleeper projections are always scary, but I've got some picks. At quarterback, I got to go with Patrick Mahomes, former Red Raider.
Wow.
He's really slinging the ball there in Kansas City, and Andy Reid's a great coach, particularly for quarterbacks that can run and throw the ball.
Now, has he taken over the starting position?
He is positioned to start this year. Yes.
Even now, is Alex Smith still there, or is he
Smith
gone?
has been traded. So.
Oh, okay. See, I'm learning.
Yeah,
right now.
so Mahomes is slated to be the starter, and he should at least be a lot of fun to watch.
Heck yeah.
Wide receiver, I like John Ross for the Bengals. Now, he dealt with a lot of injury last year and really did not live up to the hype, but he has elite level speed and can absolutely get down the field and catch the ball.
Cool, man.
If you're looking for a tight end, George Kittle's going to be a great choice for the 49ers. He's got a new quarterback there throwing the ball around. They had some great success late in the year, and I think he's going to be kind of a sleeper tight end, maybe a good 6th or 7th round pickup. And then with running backs, I got to go back to my Broncos. They're going to have a duo coming out of the backfield, Devontae Booker and Royce Freeman. Freeman is a rookie. Booker's more of an established player, but I think it's going to be a great 1-2 punch.
Awesome, man. Hey, what about kickers? What are your thoughts and feedback on getting a good kicker?
The good kickers are usually the ones that have been in the league the longest and are just consistent and do it regularly every week. Tucker, players like that have been there for years and are consistently accurate. That's going to be the key.
Hey, that's good information on the Fantasy Football League, and for newcomers and for experts alike. Guys, like Tyler said earlier, man, make sure you have fun. That's what fantasy football is all about. It is competitive, but enjoy it. It's a great pastime with friends and family. Just to recap over about the school year, we hope that you guys can take away some of these tips and information on getting ready for the school year and also making it a successful school year for your children and for you guys as well. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your time and hope that you guys have a great, successful year with your families. Remember to be involved as much as possible. Parenting is so important. Take time to listen, to hear your kids, and be involved with their lives at school and outside of school. Until next time, we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye. Well, hopefully you're able to use some of these tips to make the upcoming school year a success in your family. As far as the Fantasy Football League pointers, make sure you understand the basics and, most importantly, have fun. Be sure to click on the link below and download your own outline of the tips and information we discussed on today's video. Hey, let us know your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions on today's topic by responding on our Facebook page. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button below and share it with your friends. To stay informed when our newest videos are posted, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.